anything for us because they work for the billionaires, and we tell them, okay, because we have literally no leverage. Not many people have 6 months worth of savings. We should all have 6 months worth of savings in our bank account because every single person wants to push back. We all want to push back, but we don't know how because the system has us so locked in economically that there ain't shit we can do politically. Because in order for us to push back in a political sense, we need to have savings. Americans should have 6 months worth of savings. You want people to skip work to strike when they can't even afford meat? And the other thing is, hey, in order to strike, we don't need, we don't just need savings. Boycotting, that's another option, right? We can boycott, but that takes non-corporate options as well too. So what we need to do is understand that as long as we depend on them, they always will control us because it doesn't matter. The more we stop buying, the more we start saving. That sounds right. But it's actually not because there are things we can't stop buying. We can't stop buying. Well, that's what we're saying. So when people call for a strike, it's just not realistic. That's what we're saying. So how do we make it realistic? That's what we should be thinking of, right? These protests are great. But the protests don't mean anything if we can't push back. But we cannot boycott. It is not possible to boycott. Because there aren't, for many people, non-corporate options. And if you are just shopping there the day before and shopping there the day after, a one-day boycott will never fix anything. This isn't about sending a message or protesting harder or just getting enough people on the same page, right? This is about understanding what real power is. And power is not the people that write the laws. Power is not the people that write legislation. There is no such thing as saving in this economy because corporations control everything. There you go, Clover Ridge. We need our own markets. We need our entirely own economy. It's so weird that we are all a part of this economy, that it's our hard work and our education and our gumption that makes it go forward. Yet this economy works against us. What if that you had this little device and you had to go wheel it up and you wheeled it up and you wheeled it up, and the only way it worked was you went and wheeled it up. But every time you wheeled it up, it slapped you in the face. At some point, wouldn't you be like, I am not going to wheel this up anymore because this damn thing slaps me in the face every time? But we have to, because that's how we get what we need to live. So what we've got to understand is that it's not going to be us growing our own food, or basically we're not going to live like the Amish, right? Like that's never going to happen. We're never going to go back to Amish times. And then the other thing is that people also like their convenience, right? People really like their convenience. So it's difficult to figure out. Devora says they buy local from farms and ranches, but not many people can do that, right? There you go. So that's close to it, farm to fork. What we've really got to understand is that no matter how much we demand change, no matter how loud we get, no matter how many people get on the same page, if we all still pay our mortgage and our rent to corporations, there ain't shit your boycott can do. If 80% of Americans get their food from a corporate grocery store, and that's the only grocery store they have within 10 miles, the boycotts ain't gonna do shit. And if every single month we pay our, our healthcare, our electricity, our internet, all to corporations, our car payment, All goes to corporations. So we can try to boycott, but if they control all the things we need to live, then how the hell can we effectively boycott? That's really the only question, right? That's really the only question that I have. Well, there we go. That's exactly what we are doing. So he said, so what do? We can't just keep talking. We have to understand the correlation between all of this. We have to understand that mass action is great. What happened yesterday is incredible. But unless we stay connected, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter one bit. Because if we all go out there and we all cheer and scream in one day, and then the very next day we are no longer connected, then us coming out to protest didn't mean anything. Because what mass actions actually do is they bring people together. Well, when people come together, they're able to form local groups, right? They're able to form local groups. And then the local groups, they take action, creating new alternatives so that the next time we boycott, maybe there's a couple different food buying groups where we can buy some food from a farmer instead of a grocery store. So if enough people come together and are able to form more local options, well, that gives us the ability to boycott and strike more effectively. And if we can boycott and strike more effectively, that means that we are able to create more mass actions. It all is the same. Mass actions bring in people. When people get together, they start building alternatives. Building alternatives creates options so we can actually effectively boycott. And if we can effectively boycott, then when we go to speak out and protest, it will actually matter. That's all we're trying to say. It is a feedback loop. And the feedback loop is where we need to recognize protesting is not the goal. Protesting should only be where we recruit other people. We should have 1,000 people with clipboards at protests. And those 1,000 people should all be building something. A food buying group where you put together 40 or 50 people to buy eggs once a week from the farmer instead of going to the grocery store. A buy and resell group of used items where people can get rid of their old clothes and sell them. And also, do what they need to do. And so then there's healthcare. Basically, it comes down to corporations don't do anything. That's what we really have to point out and show people is that corporations don't do anything. And yeah, Dale, that's one of the first things we say is, hey, either join or start this group. Like, don't redo it. Somebody in your group, if you're looking to buy a food buying group, look for it. If you can't find the food buying group and later you hear of one, then maybe it's like, oh, we would love to join your food buying group, but it was hard to find you. Could we make it easier to find? So the way forward is community. When we say the opposite of greed is community, it's not just that greed serves one person and community serves many. It's that the way we defeat them is through community. Because that's what really will save us. That's how we build this alternative economy. Because if we are able to rely on community members instead of people that don't care about us, then we know they won't screw us over. And Robin, that's the whole thing. I was at every single No Kings this year, and everybody kept asking, but what next? What next? And I think it is that we're all used to the politicians working for the people. But since politicians do not work for the people, they work for the corporations, it still is a little weird when we protest and we make a lot of noise and nothing happens. Because for 150 years, when the American people stood up and said, fix this, politicians listened to us. And now we're finally standing up, or we're standing up again for the longest time. And we're saying, fix this. And they're not. Well, that's because politicians don't work for us anymore. Politicians work for the corporations. So corporations are in charge of everything. It's insane. Corporations control the economy. So they control all of our jobs. They control all of our retirement. They control all of our healthcare, right? Corporations control the media. Corporations control politicians. Robert, this isn't left or right. So we always think it's funny when somebody says, oh, they're getting what I voted for. We think you're playing right into the hands of the billionaires. You're actually being manipulated and you don't even know it. So to the rest of us, it's kind of sad. We appreciate you being here, though. But anytime somebody comes in and points fingers left or right, we almost see it as like a school child, right? Because it's like somebody making an insult that is just too immature. It's like if somebody came in and was like, oh, you're a booger face. You don't get upset at that, right? You just feel bad for the person who acts like that because they don't know any better. And it's like, there you go, Larry. And then, Larry, it's what sucks so bad is people don't even realize that no matter which side they're on, if you're busting your ass so much that you still can't get ahead, well, guess what? You don't have time to think about why, right? You're not sitting there going, why is it that the previous generation worked 40 hours a week and they kind of had a nice life? Where I'm working more than 40 hours a week and I don't have a nice life at all. This is crazy. And Leah, that's almost like the American dream laid out, right? If a company is successful, its employees should be too. And that's all that we're saying is if you work really hard to help make a company successful, then you should not have to struggle to make ends meet for a couple different reasons. And the number one is when you struggle to make ends meet, you're easy to control. That's it. And everybody in America is struggling to make ends meet, so they make it easy to control. That's about it. So America isn't more divided than it's been. They simply have us with less money. And because we have less money, it creates this artificial scarcity. And because there's scarcity, goddamn, we turn into some competitive animals. When there are 9 of us and only 4 or 5 slices of bread. We start looking at our family. We start looking at our neighbors as people who are taking food out of our mouth. Right? And we turn on one another. Add a little bit of the media pointing fingers and saying, oh, it's this problem. Oh, it's this problem. Oh, it's this problem. Oh, it's this problem. And so that keeps us always spinning around in circles. Well, what is it? What's going on? Because it feels like nobody has enough money. But these people up there, they're telling me it's this over here, or it could be this over here. Man, it feels like there's 1,000 different problems going on. And that's where we've got to remember, people basically have like 4 different areas that they are in. They either see that there's a problem, or they either think there's no problem at all. They think there's a problem, But it's mostly people making bad choices, right? That's it. So that's what's keeping the majority of America back, is that people either think there's no problem at all, or that, hey, if there's a problem, it's a problem with people making poor choices, living outside of their means. But at what point, this is what's crazy, at what point, how many people need to fail before you stop saying it's the individual's fault? How many people need to drive off the road before we stop blaming the drivers and start blaming the road? Well, I think first we have to understand a lot of people will never blame it, right? A lot of people will never blame it. They will always be so stuck in their ways. So that's where a lot of times, like arguing and rationalizing, trying to convince people is not the way forward. Yeah, Eric, I'll get right there. Basically, it's not convincing people. How many adults actually change their mind willingly and then are mature about it? Not too many. Really, what we need to do is understand that, okay, this system and this economy does not work for us. It works against us, right? The role of the economy has always been, it has always worked against, or didn't always work against us. It used to work for us. But Mark, you are right. It's just that those corporations have spent 100 years using propaganda telling us that the point of government is to serve the people, right? And so what we need to understand is that our power does not lie in voting. Our power does not lie in electing better leaders, because we can elect better leaders. McDubin, I appreciate you. Generally, we don't have anybody up, though. I've got very short amount of time that I try to get this out. So we're a movement. We basically try to recruit people into this movement. We do have our Discord. I would love to chat with you a little bit more there. And then kind of as we get to know people a little bit more, we let them up occasionally here. But this is mainly just, I just don't have a lot of time. I have 2 young kids. So I'm going to get through what I can here. And if I got some time afterwards, that would be great. And the reason we put the me's in the chat is because everybody is going through a shitty economic situation. But none of us say anything about it, because making your own way is like a rite of passage in America. And if you don't make your own way, you feel ashamed. Dale, I appreciate you. I think I should do that debate. It just is I don't care about some people. It's like, we'll figure it out. But yes, so there you go. Well, y'all, if you are feeling this, we've got a Discord. We hold meetings every single Sunday for all the people that feel this and want to connect with others that do too. People that are basically sick of banging their head against the wall and been like, I've protested, I've boycotted, I've yelled, I've told my friends, I've told my family, and nothing is changing. Can we please try something different? That's what this is. Because really, all the things that we're doing were somewhat correct. We just need to all stay connected afterwards. So Aurora, this is how it works. We are either looking for builders or members. Either you're a builder and you join this and say, hell yeah, I recognize that corporations are nothing but middlemen. And if we built a new system starting now, we could certainly build a better one than what we have. So what I'm going to do is take steps to build that system now. And Aurora, what you're saying is so perfect, because we actually just created the document for people like you, where it starts up top, like, so you want to do something. And then the very next one is, join your local group. And that happens on our Discord. That's where you find people in your state. We break out by state. So we've already got the first step nailed out for you, and that says join your local group. From there, you literally choose, do I want to do something in the next month, or do I want to do something a little bit more longer term? Do I want to build something bigger for the future? That's it. Then you choose, do I want to push back against the current system, or do I want to help build a new one? And if everybody in America, if every town, if every county only had 4 or 5 people, that's it. Not 10, 20, 30, 4 or 5 people per county, 4 or 5 people per town that said, I'm going to be a part of something bigger. I am going to be doing this, and it feels small if it was just me. But I know that people in Sacramento and Portland and Washington and New York and Boston and Sarasota and, Kissimmee are all doing the same thing too. They're all either pushing back against their local government, writing letters to the editor, recruiting other people, or they're building new systems. They're showing people that corporations don't do all that much. Humans are really the ones that do all the fucking work. It's so crazy to me that farmers are the ones that grow the food. We're the ones that eat the food, but corporations make all the money and they control all the food. It also blows my mind that we all need healthcare, every single American. There are doctors and nurses and healthcare providers in your freaking zip code. The doctors want to provide us health care at an affordable price. We want to have health care at an affordable. The corporations make all the money, right? And what's so crazy is we are just pointing out that corporations don't care about you. Well, and then Aurora, this is the thing. And when people go, oh, what, you want us to be Amish? Everybody should just grow their own food? No, not at all, right? That's it. That's not it at all. What we need to do is say, oh, not everybody's going to grow their own food. But we don't need to. We can just buy our food from somebody that cares about us. We can just buy our food from the farmer. Why are we going through these middlemen? Why is it that we want the food, the farmer makes the food, and for some reason a corporation is in between? And then corporations have spent billions of dollars and 60 years saying, this is the way it's always been. You can't ever change it. Without us, you'd be living in the Stone Ages. Or it's more like, no, corporation, without us, you wouldn't exist because we're the people that are your employees. You can have as many factories as you want across the country. You can have as many delivery orders as possible. But unless you have 10,000 people to work at that factory, unless motherfucking Jeff Bezos has 1 million drivers to deliver those packages, Jeff Bezos can't do shit. It's us that does it. It's us. Well, then there is one more step. So this is where not everybody's going to live near a farm. Not everybody's going to grow their own food. Guess what? Other humans still can help. You just add another layer. If you don't live near a farm, you hire one more person, a trucker. That's it. And that's where we have somebody that coordinates all this. You don't even need to do it. You'll have somebody in your neighborhood that is doing this, not just to make money. Yeah, they're excited to cover their cost of living, but they're doing it. Oh, I'm sorry, Mandy. The one that I just pasted here or the one in the link tree? The one I just posted here? Link tree. Okay. Let me see what I can do about that. So the way that you get involved, we have our Discord, every single, Discord that we're there every day. We are live every day at 11 a.m. And we have meetings every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Now, the meetings every Sunday, that's where people get started, where you come and ask questions, where basically we build community. Like, that's literally the first step, is to connect, right? That's the first step, is to connect. So this Sunday meeting is where we build that community. And then we all have this menu option of the same items. All right, Discord is in the, it's a clickable link in the profile. If somebody can let me know, Discord is a clickable link. Try it again, Shalina. Discord is a clickable link in the profile. It should work now. So, in the Discord, we break out by state. Breaking out by state is important because it's the local action groups that actually push this forward. And once we break out by state, we all choose an action. And it really doesn't matter which action we choose, because they all support each other. That's the cool part, is that all of the actions support each other. So we are going to be using the momentum loop, where it's essentially mass actions get a bunch of people together in the same area. The mass blackout, we put a bunch of people into the Discord and you meet people in your area. No Kings protest, you're there in real life and you meet people in your area. Well, if we use the protest as the end goal, we're screwed. Meeting people in your area is one thing, but if we want to win, we've got to stay connected with those people. Because it's only through local action groups that we actually change this shit. Because those local action groups will get together, they'll stay together, and that's what keeps people going in between the protests. Because all this has been about is, how do we link everyday life with mass action, with protesting? How do we make a Monday after this weekend just as fun and as intense as the strike and the protest this weekend? Well, we make it feel like we're making progress every day. Dale, that's actually one of the main things we are talking about this week at the Citizens Assembly meeting, because we are going to be going through the momentum loop. And Dale, I'll take some guy, you're right. I think anybody that uses labels for economic systems are tools. I think anybody that does not recognize that people up top try so hard to divide us using anything, that even if we're get over the old left versus right that they try to divide us on, then they try to divide us on, oh, well, what kind of economic system? Even though you're talking to a business owner with 6 locations and 35 employees who makes it really well known that he thinks competition is one of the best ways forward. Comics, I don't know what you mean by that, but we absolutely have to make it fun. People are not going to do this if it's a chore. And that's a lot of the times where activism is fallen short, is people expect something from others before they give them something, right? You have to have some sort of connection before somebody makes an ask. So many times it's like, here's our group, do this. No, we're just like, here's our group. We'd like you to join it. I'd like to see your smiling face. There'll be other people in your city or state that you could join up with too and link with them. Yeah, we want it to be fun because it's not just going to be a one-time thing. This is going to be joyful. It's going to be making connections. It's going to be with other people. It's going to feel bigger than yourself because it is. That's what's so crazy. If just you and 4 people are writing letters to the editor in your small little town, well, yeah, it doesn't feel like you're doing much. But if you're a part of an organization where you know in 100 other cities across America, there are groups of people also writing to their letters to the editor. Yeah, a little food buying group doesn't really seem like it would do much because if it's just my area, what's it going to do? But if every single city, every single town started a food buying group and it showed people that they don't need to rely on corporate systems. The problem isn't that Americans aren't awake, right? The problem is that the majority of us don't have any other options beside corporate options. And that's because most of us have only grown up in this system, right? Yeah, we're going to combine some of those out west, but we are getting there. Because Cass, that's where you're the state coordinator, because you got to start somewhere, right? We have these things called state facilitators. The state facilitator basically welcomes people as they come in. The goal is to build an alternative economy, so we don't even need their economy. So the quick version is this. We need to make our voices heard. It's really hard to make our voices heard because we don't have enough money right now. And we forgot that money is actually, our economic situation is actually what keeps us stuck politically. Because what we need to do is either boycott or strike. But we can't boycott if we don't have non-corporate options. Basically, everywhere is a corporation. So we now say, oh, boycott, but then we just go buy from the same corporations. And then when 3 corporations control 85% of companies on the S&P 500, you really start to get an idea of, wow, there is no competition. No matter where you go, it's owned by Vanguard, BlackRock, or State Street. Tidy Container, you're not getting it. So you are talking like we still need to convince people to change systems. That will never happen. Just like we were not convinced to move from a local groceries to a local market to a grocery store. We were never convinced to move from cable to streaming, right? Somebody built something better. And after they built something better, people flocked to it. And it's actually pretty simple because the entire economy works against us. I can take entire industries, I don't know, like the healthcare industry, and it's really easy to lampoon them because they're called healthcare, but they do anything to not take care of us. So we need to understand that it's not going to be convincing people. We don't need them to stand firm. They're just going to choose something that works for them instead of against them. Absolutely, then, Tiny. I apologize. When I saw stand firm, people think so much it's a moral argument. I don't even know what you're talking about. So here we go. And this is where Tony is the perfect person to come in because most people will fall victim to the power trip. And it may not be better because if a grocery store gets bigger, that results in a large corporation. And I think now would be a great time to talk about localism and why, when somebody lives in the community that they serve, when they understand that the health of their business relies on the health of the community, they strangely don't try to exploit it, because they understand that if the community ceases to exist, so does their business. Tony, great to have you in here, my friend. How you doing today?
Hello and happy Saturday, my brother. Man, every time I pop in here, I'm always like, where am I gonna start with this? Like, where do we begin? And I think the place that I'd like to start with today is that most of us had very abysmal education when it comes to how civics works in our country, from the local level all the way up to the federal level. And I'm not gonna blame anybody for that. I'm not shaming anybody for that. We all had varying levels of